What's going on, guys? We got a new setup. We got a new gimbal stabilizer and a microphone for the new videos, so we should be posting more. We're going to be repairing the rust on my side corner panel. I'll put a picture up right now. I want to start off by saying this is not a tutorial and I have no experience doing any body work or painting cars whatsoever. I figured I could take this on watching YouTube videos and learning from that, and it ended up coming out okay. I definitely didn't expect it to take as long as it did. I figured it would be a 2 to 3 day project. Stick around to the end to find out how long it took me. I'll also put up a picture of what my car used to look like when I first bought it. There was a little bit of rust, but it was so small, and then it turned into what it is now. So we got everything we need to do the repair right here. We already know that we're gonna have a bunch of holes, so this is what's gonna patch that. Let's get outside and I'll show you what it looks like. So this is what it looks like up close. This is after 2.5 years of owning it. And as you can see, there's some bubbling, so let's hope there's not too much underneath it. First thing I'm gonna go ahead and do is just clean off the area. Make sure when I sand, I don't rub any dirt or debris into the good paint, and then we'll go ahead and start sanding it down. First thing I want to do is cover everything up, slightly remove my bumper and my side skirt, and then we can start sanding. Sanding all the rust out was a lot longer and tedious than I thought, so let's get into it. Don't want to sand my door, so I tucked a little microfiber cloth, shut it so I can sand without hitting the outside of this door. So I misplaced my hammer, so I just ended up using this wrench on the backside. But what I'm doing is I'm hammering in part of the area that I'm sanding down, so that when I put the Bondo on, it doesn't hump out and I can sand it smooth with the rest of the panel. Now that we got the fender liner out, we can go ahead and sand the back side of all the rust spots that we see behind here, and then we can do the rust reformer and the undercoating before we work on filling any of this in. So let's do that. Alright, so we just covered off the bumper part of the door. This was already covered from before. We finished sanding and cleaning underneath here. This is kind of what it looks like roughly before we put the rust reformer on. There's still a little bit of rust, you know, in between the layers here that I couldn't get to. I tried my best and it still is showing a little bit, but that's not going to ever get through to here before this car's done with, because it's already got 200,000 miles. So this is the other side. Alright, so while we're letting that dry, we're going to cut and make all these pieces and sneak them behind the sheet metal. So while the rust reformer was drying, I cut out the sheet metal piece, not sheet metal, but body patch pieces, which is basically like, I use the same kind of stuff to repair sheetrock. It works great, but they're called body patch mesh wire sheets basically. And I cut them out to size, filled them in, and I went a little bit in on the body line so that when I put the body filler, that will sand down to line up with the rest of the panel. So we filled in those two. We had a little bit of rust here that was sanded down. Sanded the rust line that feathered out that way. There's a little dot there, so might as well get this all done at once. This is after. On both sides. Now we can go ahead and apply some undercoat. I think that should be all set for the undercoating. We'll let that dry, and now we can go mix and fill the Bondo. Oh. the little bit of mesh that I was able to see after that second coat, I filled in with the third coat, widened it out a little bit, and made sure that this was filled in because there was nothing there. There's literally nothing there. So I rolled the screen back towards this so it kind of had like a triangle, and then I filled it all in.
A few moments later.
And somehow it got dark out, but I got pretty far along with sanding down the first layer with just the fiberglass. So tomorrow morning I'll be out. So it's the next morning and we're finally ready for the second filler step. So we're gonna mix this up now and throw on the second step. This is the whole repair. So it's kind of decent. Right behind here, we broke one of the clips that holds this all the way that way. All the other clips won't go further unless this one's clipped in. So we have this. And I mean, this lines up, but I just took off the entire side skirt, redid it, and just had issues with it for about 45 minutes. So I'm gonna give up, maybe get another side skirt down the road, but I got it good enough for now. Yeah, we're just gonna clean the area one more time, throw the rim back on, and set up for paint, primer. Let's go. You might be wondering why I went so far this way. It's because I have scratch marks and I'm going into different body panels, so it's gonna get sanded down and feathered out even further when I do the actual paint color. So last night got a little bit dark out and we gotta get to work, but this is the finished product for now. I'll update you guys when we sand that down. All right, what's going on, guys? We're back. It's the next weekend. We are ready to sand the primer. I'm gonna take you outside right now and show you what it looks like. We're only gonna need the 600 grit for the primer, and then we'll use 800 up to probably about 2500 for when we wet sand after we paint it. So let's get out there and start sanding down the primer. Let's get our gloves on, mask, and let's get straight to it. What's going on, guys? We're back. It is a few days later. I ended up getting off because of this heat wave that's coming in for the next 3 days. So I'm going to utilize this time early in the morning before it gets too hot out, and I'm going to wet sand and buff out my car and finally finish it. We got all the sandpaper that we're going to use is 1500, 2000, 3000, and 5000. And we're going to be using a sponge so that it can fold and kind of conform with the body panels. And then we're going to clean everything first with some soapy water. We got microfiber cloths, and then that is my buff pads and polisher that I'm going to use on the drill. Alright, so to kind of run through the roughness I was talking about, I didn't clean it yet, but you can see right here. But from this angle, alright, I'm just going to start by cleaning it with some soapy water. Wow. Alright, just gonna hose it down a little bit. See what's going on. And I'm not too happy with how it turned out. The second time I didn't really have time to record because of the heat. It was just so hot. I was trying to get it done early in the morning. And we ended up sanding down this second paint. It's just still too rough. I ended up running out. Like, you could still see this faint line. So I sanded everything back down. And for some reason this bubble is now showing through again. Clear coat chipped and is showing through. And I really don't want to rush this process, so we're gonna start over. This is what it looks like. We got a light shining on it in the shop right now, and you can see the body line looks a lot better than it did before. Alright, so this video is definitely turned into a learning process. We weren't happy with how the paint came out or the body line, and when we tried to repaint it the second time, I ran out of paint, and then I tried to use the last little bit because I was kind of close to finishing. I tried to use the last little bit up close. Turned out really bad, so I sanded all that out, refinished the body line, reprimed it, and that's where we're at now. This is like 4-5 weekends in. I'm only doing about 5-6 hours per day on the weekend, so between 4 weekends, 2 days each. Damn, now I'm thinking about it, that's a lot of time. But you know what? I'm learning a lot, and I'm gonna continue to do, you know, body work and fixing up my car, whether it's this car or my next car down the line in the future. So we're learning a lot with this. Unfortunately, when I feathered out and out and out, I ended up about here, here, and over here. So unfortunately, we're gonna have to paint what I just drew out with my hand, plus a little bit further, and then clear coat a little bit further than that. So we turned this into a huge job because of my mistakes, but you know what? It's just more learning and more practice to get better. So let's get straight to it. Alright, so we finished wet sanding with 1500 grit and 2000 grit very thoroughly, and it almost looks exactly the same. There's a little bit of spots that were rough that are a bit smoother now. But yeah, the more and more I look at it, it's not matching. The roughness isn't really coming out, no matter how hard I sand it or what grit I use. And this is what we're left with. I did go ahead and finish the buffing stage, which didn't help at all. It still came out looking really rough, and the body line still came out showing through, as you could see here. So I'm going to, in the future, fix it again before I wrap it. So let me know in the comments what color I should wrap my car. See you guys in the next one.